Hey everybody, and welcome to a different type of deck profile that I'm actually going to be doing. It's almost 1 a.m. and this is exactly a week actually after I went to the Salt Lake Regionals, and this is the deck that I played. This is the exact list card for card that I played. Um, Dueling Book is a little bit weird on the way that it organizes the cards. It does it like alphabetically or whatever. Usually I do it like with by like archetype and then hand traps and stuff like that. But um anyways, this is the deck that I took, and this is the deck that uh I bubbled. I almost got top 24. If one of my draws was a win, I would have been able to get top 24 and I would have got my invite. But the new draw system or whatever is really dumb, and I didn't. So you know what happens though. I'm not gonna worry too much about it. I got another tournament here in a month in Las Vegas that I'll be going to. I probably won't be playing this deck, but this is the deck that I took, and let's go over it. We'll start off Swap Frog, Dupe Frog, and Ronin Toad. Usually this is the standard Frog engine, just the 8 cards. It's always really solid. I was thinking of playing a ninth Frog, but there was just none that really caught my eye. There was one that like I was kind of interested about, but I just didn't do it in the end because I felt like these 8 Frogs were the best that you could play. For hand traps, I played one Ash. This was actually the 40th card in the deck because I had no idea what else to play, and so I just decided to throw in an Ash. It was okay. I think I saw it once, and I used it obviously. Probably should have played more of this. The reason that I played Bell and 2 Bell instead of like 2 or 3 Ash was because Called by the Grave actually really destroys this deck. Because if you're able to banish a Dupe Frog, Swap Frog, and or Ronin Toadin, the deck kind of just stops in its tracks. So I figured that if I played Ghost Bell, I could stop the Called by the Grave. And it has some really good applications hitting like Monster Reborn, and a lot of decks have like revival effects and stuff like that, or Search from the Grave, similar to like Dupe Frog and stuff like that. And so I thought that it would be a really good option, and it actually was. It was really good. And worst case scenario, I could actually use it for high speed Roy Chanbara, which I will get to here in a second. Ghost Ogre, it was okay. I probably should have played Ash over this. Um, yeah, I'll get to my matchups here in a second. The reason I played this was because I thought that I'd want to, I'd play against a lot of Goki, and so I thought having these hand traps would actually like really help me. Um, but I'll get into my matchups here in a second. I played a 3 Scapegoat. This kind of conflicts with the Gozen match here in a second, but I will tell you a really cool combo that I actually figured out, which is why I decided to play this deck. Um, by the way, the reason that I decided to play this deck over Dinos was when I was originally going to be taking the same or a roughly similar list to what I took to Nationals. It's here on the channel. I uploaded a couple weeks ago or something like that. I was originally planning on taking that deck to this regional, but I ended up taking this just because I felt like it had better hand traps. Because I felt like everyone was going to be playing hand traps just to counter Goki. And you can't really hand trap this deck. The best thing to do is to Ogre Swap Frog or Ogre Ronin or Ogre Toad or Valor the Toad, or not Valor, sorry, Impermanence the Toad. Everything else kind of doesn't hurt the deck at all, and so I just had to worry about those 2 hand traps, and Impermanence isn't even that bad against Toad, so I felt like it was a really solid option. Moving on to traps, we played 24. I played 2 anti-spell. I didn't find it necessary to play 3 because I was playing the Imperial Order as basically the 3rd copy. And especially if you draw into multiple copies of these, it doesn't do anything, especially because I decided to cut Dynamistress from my list altogether. I think Dynamistress is actually a really bad card. So I decided to cut it from my list altogether. I played 3 Gozen match. This is a lot better than Rivalry, because you can hit Altergeist, and that was like my idea with it or whatever. So yeah. 3 Impermanence. This card's just insane. I thought it's just a way better version of Valor, especially in this deck, triggering all your Paleo traps. So I thought it was an amazing card. I decided last minute to put in 2 copies of Lost Wind and the 2 copies of Morella to go with it. This was actually, I think this was a really solid choice, but I probably should have only played one. I didn't really test it at all, except for like the week before, like 1 or 2 tournaments or something at my locals with it. Um, it was a really, really good card, but I felt like I didn't really need it, or I probably should have played something else. I can't remember exactly. I think I had like Heavy Storms in the main, but yeah, so Lost Ones are okay. I actually did really like them at some times in the games, but there were just some times where I wish it was something else. So I probably will cut this down to one in future versions, or maybe cut it all together, just depending on how I feel about it. Moving on, I played 2 copies of Mistake. I was originally playing 3, and then I just cut the Ash, but I decided it's probably better if I have at least one Ash, just so I can stop Goki if I go first. I think that was my reasoning there, so that's why the Ash was the 40th card in the deck. Yeah. Moving on, I played 3 copies of Canadia. This is the Book of Moon one, and this one was pretty good. It really sucks against Sky Strikers, but I was able to work some things out with it. Morella just sends a trap. Usually, you just send your Lost Wind, or you can send Canadia if you have the Lost Wind in hand already, and then you can trigger all of your Paleos multiple times, which is really, really good. And then Illinois is the Spell and Trap Destruction. If you get evenly, you just flip this and destroy your own back row, and then all of your Paleos are still in the graveyard, so you can trigger them later. I also played 3 copies of Strike. I just felt like having a ton of effect negation was really mandatory in this deck, and so that's why I played that. Moving on to the side deck, the worst card again, Lancia. I played this because I expected there to be a lot of Mech Knight Invoked or Mech Knight Sky Striker, or those kind of decks, and it actually came in handy like a lot more this time than it did the previous time. Originally, I played 3 of this in the Las Vegas when I originally topped with this deck, and I decided to play 2 copies of this, and it actually worked really well. Um, I played against like an Infernoid player, and it just completely stopped his turn, but it was kind of irrelevant because I lost the match anyways. But yeah, Inspector Border. I don't think I cited this in once at all, but against Altergeist, it's like an auto-win card. I might as well play it. Sorry about my nose. I'm really kind of allergies are hitting me really hard right now. Winged Dragon of Raw Sphere Mode against Goki Pendulum. I actually incorrectly sided against Spiral and Pendulum Magician because I was playing against going second Spiral, and I thought he would like mind trick me or whatever and go first and build a board, but he didn't, and so Sphere Mode was kind of useless on that one. And then I forgot to side it once against Pendulum Magicians, but I don't think it mattered because I won that match anyway, so that didn't really matter, but it was still a really solid card in the side deck. Evenly matched. I should have played 3. Not much else to say there. Heavy Storm Duster. I probably should have main decked this. Looking back, it was a really solid card, and yeah. So yeah, Rivalry of Warlords. This card's insane, especially backed up with Gozen, because your entire deck is level 2 Aqua Water. So you just lock out your opponent with everything. And yeah. So I'm gonna move on to the extra deck. I'm gonna first talk about Scapegoat here. So the reason that I play Scapegoat is because you play a ton of stuff. Like your extra deck is super flexible. I went into everything actually really. I think I went into everything at least once, or maybe even at least twice. Actually, I think I only made Chambara once, but I know I made everything in the extra deck. It was very flexible, and it worked out really well. I was really surprised at how well I built this extra deck. So under Gozen Mage, what you do is you just go into Missus Radiant, and then a Link Spider, because they're all Earth, and then you make a Ningirasu, and then it can out your own Scapegoat, or you can have a form of removal, or both. So, or out your own Gozen Mage is what I mean. But yeah, it was really solid. I absolutely loved it. One Star Boy. If you use 2, you have the OTK, but I didn't need it because I decided to play Borosword Dragon. With just 1 Toad, you can make a Borosword Dragon and a Toad, and I think you can do like a Nightmare Phoenix even. I usually don't make the Nightmare Phoenix, but yeah. So with those cards, it's just insane. Being able to have that much damage on board off of just 1 Toad, like, if you draw into like a Swap Frog, Dupe Frog, or Swap Frog Ronin Tonin, and it goes uninterrupted during your those like 2 turns or whatever, you can just OTK your opponent with over 8,200 damage. It's absolutely amazing. Yeah, 3 Toad, just standard. I didn't play Opabinia or whatever, the one that searches and you can play it from your hand. I didn't feel like it was really worth it. I thought Anomalakars was really good just because playing against like Altergeist, they don't have an out to this card really, so you can just continuously pop all their cards and get free advantage by triggering your Paleos or whatever, and then drawing from your deck or whatever. It's a trap, you add it to your hand. I thought it was just an absolutely amazing card. And then if you're able to draw into like dead hand traps, Chambara was really amazing, just being able to push for that damage. But yeah. So I don't think there's really much else that I can say about this list. Lancias I probably could have changed out, but I just kind of expected that. My matches were Sky Striker, Ritual Beast. Um, was it Ritual Beast? Yeah, Ritual Beast, which was like I felt really bad. I just 2-0'd him. I played against like a Spiral, 2 Pendulum Editions. I played Infernoid. Um, can't really remember too many others off the top of my head right now. Um, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. I went 4-2-2, and I just barely bubbled. If one of my draws was a win, then I obviously would have been able to top. But it happens. I'm not gonna worry too much about it. But yeah. So hopefully I can build a better deck and we can top next month when I go to Vegas. But yeah, if you guys have any questions with this list or any like suggestions or card choice like questions, like why I play like these hand traps or something like that, leave them in the comment section below. But yeah, I just can't wait for a new ban list. The reason I'm doing this, by the way, like online, is because I took the whole deck apart. Um, because I'm building other decks, and so I'm using like a lot of these cards, like the hand traps, the goats, the impermanence, the strikes for like other things. Sometimes maybe even the Paleo engine. I don't know. Thinking emoji about that. But a lot of the extra deck I do use in other decks as well. So, um, yeah. I think that's about it. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys all later. I don't know if I'll do a deck profile next week. But yeah, I'll see you guys when I decided